Hello, welcome. Yeah, so we'll be having a top-down analysis on the dollar index, the euro index, and then the pound. Okay. So on the dollar index on the daily time frame, you can see that on the daily time frame, you're having a closure here on the daily time frame to indicate break of structure to the upside. Okay. So on the daily time frame, we're having a close there for change of character to the upside. We swept this high and then we close below for internal breaks to the downside. And then we change and close. Okay. So currently on the dollar index, we're having a break here. As you can see, we swept that high. Okay. We swept that high and we closed below, indicating that on the next candlesticks, we'll be having a retracement here to mitigate an other block and then we sell to this side. Okay. So on the 4 hour time frame, as you can see on the 4 hour time frame, we're having a breaks here to the upside on the 4 hour time frame. All right. And watch carefully. We had this break to the upside after sweeping this low. Sorry. So after sweeping that low, we had the break to the upside. Okay. And then we closed below again. So note that after closing above, we had a strong bearish signal, bearish candlestick, and then followed by another candlestick to close below. So we indicate this one as a candle sweep, like a high sweep. Okay. So this other block here, although this closed on the 4 hour time frame here as a break of structure to the upside, we had 3 consecutive candlesticks here to indicate a valid pullback. Okay. So this close will signal a bearish move to then give us a bearish signals. Okay. But after closing above, we had a strong close here and then followed by another candlestick to give a close. So this is somehow a fake out. Okay. So I'll be waiting for price to give a lower time frame shift here, then to buy to the upside to break this high. All right. So this close here, we had a candle sweep here on the liquidity side. Then we closed above to give a break of structure to the upside on the 4 time frame. Okay. We had another break here on the 4 time frame. So this break didn't sweep any low here. So this was somehow a weak break of structure to the upside. Okay. So this swept a low all right and closed. But this low is an external liquidity or a major inducement. Okay. So it's in these traders to sell to this low or those lows here. All right. But price will then mitigate this other block here. Sell to this demand zone and then give a lower time frame shift to then buy because this serves as a major inducement, although it has a close here. Okay. So we'll be waiting for this other block to get mitigated. But this supply zone will give a lower time frame shift to then mitigate this other block, and then we give a lower time frame shift to buy to break this high. All right. So that's my narrative on the dollar index. Okay. So let's go down to the Euro USD. So on the Euro USD, on the daily time frame, you can see that on the daily time frame on the Euro USD, we're having this other block be mitigated here to then give a shift here. So this is our strong low. This is strong high on the Euro USD. Okay, we had this daily break of structure to the downside and then internal breaks here. Okay, and then we shifted internally to the downside. All right, so the recent internal break here is this one as a break of structure to the downside. This is our strong high and this is our strong low. Okay, internally. All right, so on the 4 hour time frame, as you can see on the 4 hour time frame, we have this other block supply zone here, unmitigated supply zone. We have this fair value gap here, unmitigated. This has been mitigated on the fair value gap. So this other block here, after breaking this low to give a breaker structure to the downside of 4 hour time frame, you can see that we didn't have any liquidity engineered. So the liquidity lies here. Okay. So this supply zone is a valid supply zone, all right. But I will not look to trade until this high has been swept on the 4 hour time frame. So if the 50 minutes give me a lower time frame shift here, I will not sell until this liquidity has been swept. Okay. So I'll be looking to trade to this liquidity high on the internal time frames here. You have the break of structure to the downside, change of character to the upside, break here, and then break. Okay. So as you can see, this is our liquidity high on the 4 hour time frame. Okay. So after mitigating this other block here, I'm waiting for price to sweep this high, give me a lower time frame shift, and then I'll sell to the downside. So on the internal time frame here, on the 4 hour time frame, you can see that we had this break of structure to the upside here with a candle close here. We have this other block here. Okay. We have that other block here. So I'll be waiting for price to mitigate this other block here. Give me a lower time frame on the 5 minute time frame. A shift to then buy to tackle this high or this supply zone, and then we sell again to break this low. Although after without sweeping this high, price can then mitigate here and then give me a lower time frame shift and then sell. But I will not sell until this high has been taken. Okay. So let's go down to the 1 hour time frame and see. So on the 1 hour time frame, you can see that we had this zone. It has been mitigated. This zone has been mitigated on the 1 hour time frame. Okay. So the only zone left on the 1 hour time frame is this zone. So I'm waiting for price to then mitigate this H4 order block. I'll be interested in this 1 hour order block. Sweep here, give me lower time frame shift, and then I'll sell. Without that sweep, I'm not selling on the 1 hour time frame. Okay. So the internal time frames, internal structure here, we had this close here. Okay, we had this close, internal break to the upside, break here, change of character, and then the change of character again. Okay. So let's see on a 30-minute time frame. So on a 30-minute time frame, as you can see on the 30-minute time frame, you can see that we had this change of character to the upside after sweeping this high. So this was a strong low, and this high was a weak high to then break. Okay. So after changing character internally, you can see that on the lower time frame, we swept an inducement here on the lower time frame. Okay. Let's watch the 50-minute time frame and see. So on the 50-minute time frame, you can see that on the 50-minute time frame, this low was our liquidity low. Okay. So on the 50-minute time frame, we swept that low and then price came up to close here. So that was our strong break of structure to the upside. So after that break of structure to the upside, you can see that price mitigated this other block here. This other block tried to then give a break here, couldn't give the break, and then we had this close here to the downside. Okay. So after that close to the downside here, price then gave another close here to the upside. Okay. So after that close to the upside, let's go down to the. So this is our strong low, and this is our weak high. Okay. So we're looking for price to then break this high to mitigate another demand zone, then we continue outside. So on the 50-minute time frame, you can see on the 50-minute time frame. Sorry. So on a 15 minutes time frame, you can see that this low here, we didn't sweep this low. Okay, so this is your liquidity low inducement. Okay, so I'll be looking for price to then sweep this low and then give a break to the upside here. Okay, so this is our 30 minutes order block here. If price closes below this, we'll be looking to sell on the supply zone that will be available to then tackle this demand zone to then give a lower time frame shift to then buy to the upside. All right. So on the 50 minutes time frame, you can see that this low gave a high here. So this is our inducement. Okay. So I'll be waiting for price to sweep this low, give me a lower time frame shift, and then I'll buy to the upside. Or if this other block fails, then I'll sell to this 30 minutes demand zone to then buy to the upside to break this high. So that's my narrative. And you can see that we have equal highs liquidity here. So we have this high as our equal high liquidity. Okay. So if price comes low for this demand zone to fail, then I'll be selling to this other block here. And then I'll be looking for a lower time frame shift then to buy to break this high. So that's my narrative on the EURUSD. So let's go down to the GBPUSD. So on the GBPUSD, you can see on the daily time frame, after mitigating this other block here and sweeping this low, okay, so we swept that low without a candle close here, okay, price then decided to push upside, all right. So we had this internal breaks here to the upside, and then we had this change of character internally to the downside, okay. So after that change of character internally to the downside, we had this as our strong internal high and then internal low, sorry, weak. So we'll be looking to break this low. Okay, we have this other block here as an unmitigated other block there. Okay, on the daily time frame. So this other block here is our daily unmitigated other block. Okay, so on the 4 hour time frame, you can see on the 4 hour time frame that we had this break of structure to the upside on the 4 hour time frame. So we had this 4 hour breaks here. So this there, and then we had this break here. So on the 4 hour time frame, this impulsive leg that broke this low, the liquidity lies here. Okay, and then this. So that's the liquidity. And this mitigation, we didn't have any liquidity sweep there. So the liquidity still lies above this high. And then this high too. Okay. So that is our liquidity highs. Okay. We have this 4 other blocks here. So we have the supply zone, give a lot of time frame shift on either of these other blocks. So in the internal time frames, you can see that we had this break to the upside internally. We have this break to the upside internally. We have this break to the upside and then change. Okay, so the recent internal break to the upside is here. That's a recent internal break to the upside. On the 30-minute time frame, you can see that on the 30-minute time frame, we swept this high, we closed below, and then we closed upside again. Okay, so when you go down to 15 minutes time frame, you can see that we had a sweep here. Okay, sorry. On the 15 minutes time frame, um, if you watch here closely on the 30 minutes time frame, so we had this high, and then this close here was the same high. We closed exactly on the same high, so we had this high for 1.33698, and then this close here was also 1.33698. So this wasn't a close on the 30 minutes time frame for me. Okay, so price came down to sweep this low and then closed above here. So on this close, we had 1.33758. Okay, on that close. So this is our strong close here. All right, on the 30 minutes time frame. So as you can see, price then came back to sweep. Um, so price came back, swept this low, okay, and then sweep this low with this candlestick here, okay. So that sweeps here. Price then moved up to then close above after mitigating this other block here, okay. So that other block mitigation gave a sweep, a close here. So this is our other block mitigation. So after that other block mitigated, we got a close here to the upside. Okay. So on the 50 minutes time frame, you can see on the 50 minutes time frame, we have this low as a liquidity low number one. Okay. We have this low, liquidity low. All right. Because this low, we 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 swept this high with from this low. No, this was the last low that caused this high break. So this is our liquidity high, a liquidity low. All right. So we're waiting for price to then sweep this low. Okay. So after sweeping this low, and then we watch that this other block here has not failed, then we look to buy to the upside. So if this other block fails after sweeping this low, then we'll be looking to sell to this 30 minutes order block here, and then we buy to the upside.